Hi. So, I am here to talk to you today about the hero's journey. What if you were the hero of your own story? And that is a question that I love to ask. I love to ask that of myself. I love to ask that of everybody that I work with in terms of, well, I mean, just everybody. What if you were the hero of your own story? And what could that look like? I think it's a really interesting question. And I think so. And I think it's a wonderful question to explore through the lens of fiction. I'm about ready to launch a 6 week course for young people, for tweens and teens. Anybody who's efficient in writing, I'd say around 11 and up. Um, the course is a self reflection, self development course grounded in reflective fiction writing. And in essence, we're going to take apart Joseph Campbell's hero's journey and we're going to look at it from a very systematic perspective. The hero's journey has been broken down into 12 steps, and this is through the journey of examining myths of heroes throughout history and throughout different cultures. And they all tend to have one thing in common, and it's this general standardized formula. And that makes every single hero throughout history, throughout every myth, relatable. It makes them related. And by learning the steps of the hero's journey, I'm going to be taking teens and tweens through creating their own hero's journey. Sometimes it's easier to process challenges in our own lives through the lens of fiction. And sometimes it's easier to work out solutions to really big problems. And sometimes it's easier to be able to make this problem that we're facing or this challenge that is in front of us in our lives, to give it a character, to make it a dragon or to make it a wolf, or that big scary monster that allows us to interact with that thing. And so looking at the hero's journey through a very sort of, on one hand, a very systematic, formulaic perspective, and then guiding our young writers to translate their life into these big fictional things. They'll be going through the process of creating their own character based on themselves. They will recognize what the ordinary world is, the world that they're living in, and they'll be listening for that call to adventure. And what does that look like? The next step would be the refusal to the call and that inner resistance that comes up that says, I doubt that I can do this. And then through the recognition of understanding that we all have our own comfort zone, we have our stretch zone, our outside of our comfort zone space. We step into that space through fiction where we're willing to go into the unknown. Finally, or next, we meet our mentor and we cross into the threshold. We all know that going into the stretch zone outside of our comfort zone, going into these spaces, there's going to be trials and tribulations. And to be able to write those out through the battles, based on the imagination and the perceived monsters or challenges, will give us that way to process these things. And finally, we'll have our greatest challenge and our moment of that final test, what happens. And then to write out through fiction the ability to seize the reward. I'm so excited to go through this process through the fiction writing, and it will be a 6-week course. It is a course where we're going to meet once a week for about an hour and a half, and I'll be providing challenges, and I'll be providing all sorts of different resources. And each week, each of our participants will have a challenge to write a portion of their story. And if they want to share their stories through um, through our group, our Discord server, and share it with one another, they'll be able to get feedback from the others that are taking this writing course with me. And at the end of the 6 weeks, they'll have their own hero's journey that they have spent the process the 6 weeks writing. So anyway, I'm really excited. I'm excited about two different things. I'm excited about working with young people, moving through and identifying and putting their life through the lens of fiction and actually workshopping this. Oops. And I'm also really excited to introduce the world of reflective writing to to a bunch of a group of young people. And I think anybody, any level of writer, even adults, would get a lot out of taking their own hero's journey. So if you know somebody who might be interested in taking the course, it's going to be a fantastic course. It's starting in about 2 weeks. July 19th is the start date. It's open for all young people, ages 11 and up. It could be a self-guided journey where you don't share anything with anybody, or it could be as transparent as you want. So you could share each step with the whole group, and the experience will be yours. So if you are interested in this, enrollment is open now. Super excited. The course for the 6-week Hero's Journey is $375 US. And along with the course and the course challenges and each week's mini challenges and materials to read and watch and so forth, you'll also have the community Discord group where everybody will be connected and sharing ideas and so forth. So if you're interested, I'll put the link into the comments, and please share this course with your homeschool groups, with your self-directed education groups, with anybody who you know who has young people. This is going to be an amazing course and an amazing community. So I look forward to seeing you and joining you on your very own hero's journey.